Thank you for tuning in to Gloves Off Seattle. Your hosts, Patti and Meagan, will be talking about all things Seattle women's hockey. A huge Pacific Northwest welcome to the PWHL. Gloves Off Seattle! Okay. Well, welcome to another episode of Gloves Off Seattle. I'm Meagan.
I'm Patti.
And this is Gloves Off Seattle. We'll work that out. It'll get better, I promise.
It will.
As we do it more. Okay, so we are sitting here. We are recording in the evening, which is unusual for us. We're not late night people, but we wanted to. It is Sunday, May 11th. Happy Mother's Day. You guys will be hearing this tomorrow morning because I'll release this tomorrow morning. But yeah, for all that celebrate, Happy Mother's Day here and in Canada as well. But we wanted to talk about the last week of playoffs since playoff action started on Wednesday. And so we were like, okay, well, when we started this idea, it was like, okay, we'll watch both the games today because there was both series played today. And then we'll get on and we'll talk about the week and it'll be great. And then the Montreal-Ottawa game happened all day today, like literally all day today. So
I washed the car. I made my lunches for the week. The kids were there.
Yeah,
there was planting.
It was a lot. And it was funny because our oldest was like, at some point, he was like, is this game still on? Like, yes, it is. So for those that don't know, the Montreal Victoire and the Ottawa Charge played into four overtimes. Yeah, 4 overtimes today. So for those that are new to the hockey world, let's talk about why we went into 4 overtimes. So that's not usual for the regular season. So Patti, take it away because she's our brainchild of this
I don't know about that, but regular season, when a game is tied, that goes to an overtime period of 5 minutes, 3-on-3 hockey for 5 minutes, and then if it's still tied after 5 minutes, they go to a shootout, which is I think the WHL have more
I think it's
shootouts
5. I think it's 5.
No, it's 5 in the NHL. I think so I think it's 7 because when we
oh gosh, that's really bad. Yes, the game that we saw in person at the Fleet and the Victoire that played in Seattle for the takeover tour went to shootout, and we were like, wait, why are they still shooting?
Right. So I think they do 7 shooters each side.
Just did 3.
No, the NHL does 5.
Wow.
I
don't know. Someone's going to comment and tell us we're wrong. That's great.
I might be wrong, but I don't think I am.
Please comment and tell us. Yeah. We're not. This is not a. I was actually thinking about this earlier today. I'm like, we are not the podcast you want to come to if you're looking for stats. If you're looking for good factoids. I'm not saying that we won't have them. I'm just saying like that's not what this is.
In-depth analysis.
Yeah, we're not in-depth analysis. We're more color commentary.
Yes, that's very good. Very colorful. We are colorful commentary.
Color commentary. So anyway, I just want to talk about, and it's funny because we're like, oh, we could talk about the whole week, but now I'm just like, this game today was so insane.
It was obviously the longest game in PWHL history.
Longest game in PWHL history, and they surpassed that in the third overtime.
Right.
So like
it was fourth overtime.
Yeah, like had they even scored at the end of the third overtime, they would have been the longest game. But then they went into the fourth overtime.
Right. But that's what I need to say. So regular season, you have overtime, shootout, and it's done.
Right.
So people can go home and go to bed. Playoffs, there's no 3-on-3. You go full intermission, you Zamboni the ice, you go to first overtime, 5-on-5 hockey, first goal in wins, sudden death overtime. And if it takes a long time, it takes a long time. And I think I've told you this a few times that it either happens really quickly in overtime or it happens really late.
Yeah.
And we didn't think it would be 4 overtime really late, but fourth overtime. We had family dinner at my in-laws for Mother's Day, and we're like, we were going to wait for the game to be over, but we can't.
We had to leave. We had to leave, and we turned it on. I had it on my phone in the car, and it literally, that's when they scored the goal, which was great. I mean, it was great. We were
pulling the kids in the back.
Yeah.
Who do you think's going to win?
Yeah.
Malcolm's like, Ottawa.
Our 5-year-old said Ottawa. And
Jedi? Was it the Jedi or the Sith?
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know. Who's who in this situation?
Right.
Is Montreal the Jedi and Ottawa the Sith? I don't know. Anyway, but long story short, yeah, so Montreal ended up winning, but the interesting thing about that game is Montreal was ahead the entire game, 2-0 until 5 minutes till the end of the third period.
But Ottawa's
So
known for that. They put a stat up there that Ottawa scored late in a lot of their
yeah.
games.
So then
And
Ottawa came back and tied it. And it's funny because I was trying really hard to stay off social media, which is really hard for me. But I was trying
so
to,
hard for her to be on delay.
it is. But I was like, okay, don't look because we were watching on delay. And it wasn't even that far delayed. It was just a little delayed. So then once I saw something that I was like, oh, it looks like Ottawa won. Oh, shoot. And then I was just like, okay, Megan, just watch, just watch. And I actually put it on because you went to go watch the car, which she was still watching. But I put it on time and a half so that so I could get caught up. And I was just like, it kept going and going. And then you texted me and you were like, I'm live. And I was like, I'm live. I thought she was like saying I'm alive. Like she'd been gone for such a long time. She's
Had
like,
it been
I'm
gone a
so,
long time?
you've been gone for a
Okay,
while.
I detailed the car. There were a lot of Cheerios and it was a lot. And then it was raining and I had to keep going over it because the back doors were open. I'm vacuuming.
Let's talk about the fact
Anyway,
that she was washing the car, like inside and outside of the car while it was raining.
it was
But that's
raining.
living in the Pacific
Yeah,
Northwest.
if you don't wash while it's raining, you're never gonna wash your car. And I'm starting my new job tomorrow, so I'm to wash the car. It's a fresh start. So,
Fresh start.
yeah.
Anyway, so that we totally what were we talking about? Oh yeah, the fact that it just kept going on and on and on. So then I finally got caught up to live because she was like, I'm live. And I was like, okay, I'm like 8 minutes. Like
You were 8 minutes behind.
I was 8
minutes
minutes
to go in
behind.
the second overtime.
Yeah. So it's 8 minutes behind. So I finally got caught up. And then when
You
she
fell
got
asleep in
home,
the third overtime.
I did fall asleep in the third overtime because I was like, it's never gonna end. I was honestly like, it's gonna be loud when they win or when somebody wins, it's gonna get loud. And I was like, it'll wake me up.
If Ottawa would have scored, it would not have gotten loud.
Well, I mean, the announcer would have gotten loud.
The
Anyway.
announcer would have. Probably.
Anyway, so it was an epic game. It was so, I mean, it was so epic and so long. We were trying to half watch the Toronto Minnesota game on the computer, but it was kind of like, not that it wasn't a good game, because it was totally a good game. It just totally got overshadowed by the length of the game
And they were opposite games because there were so many shots on goal in the Toronto-Ottawa.
Oh yeah, it was like 50 something to 40 something shots. It was insane.
It was even more. I mean, obviously there's four overtimes,
a lot of
shots, but there were a lot of shots even through regulation.
For
and
them to
Minnesota,
have for it to be a 3-2 final,
right?
Like, yeah.
And Minnesota was like every shot went in. Like
yes.
There were very few shots and a lot of
At one point it was 22 to 18, I think 22 shots.
Yeah, and it was 7 to 5.
It was 7 to 5. And it was like, and the commentators even said it. They're like, everything is going in.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely just a different game.
And you saw your favorite CJ.
Are you gonna out me already?
What?
Jeez,
don't people know?
I haven't said it yet.
Okay, I just said it.
Anyway, if I'm hoping for a goalie to come to Seattle, it might be Carly Jackson. We'll just put that out there.
AJ Jackson.
Yeah. They are using they them pronouns and going by CJ, I believe now as well. But right on whatever. I just would love to see them come to Seattle. I think that would be great. Sorry, Toronto.
Sorry.
Yeah. So we will have a conversation at some point about the expansion draft. We still don't know
when the rules come out.
Yeah, we're anxiously awaiting to hear what the rules are going to be, when the expansion draft is going to be. We know that the regular draft is in June, end of June.
June 24th.
Yes, so we know that it will probably be before then. So we're kind of on the edge of our seat because we are an expansion team, or we're an expansion team. So we're waiting to see who our players are going to be,
who our pool of players are, who the pool of players that we're going to draw from.
True.
And who's going to get protected and how they're going to protect them. And, the PWHL does things differently. And they have to. I mean, there's only 6 teams, and I don't know how the first expansion draft went in the NHL. I'm not that old. But I'm sure the PWHL is going to do it differently. And I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
So,
but right now we're in it, we're definitely in the playoffs for the teams that are playing, and we're rooting on Montreal. I think that's who we've both decided. We did talk about, I think we talked about it on Instagram. We didn't talk about it here, that we're kind of a house divided with the other series. I'm rooting for Toronto, not only because CJ is their goalie, but also because I like them and they're not the champions. I don't know, like I can't root for the champions for some reason unless it's my home team, and then that's going to be a whole nother thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think we'll always root for Seattle.
Yeah.
No matter what, we'll want Seattle to win.
Absolutely.
They're going to be our team. But right now, I'm rooting for Minnesota in the Minnesota Toronto series.
That was me making a little barfing noise that she's rooting for Minnesota. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with Minnesota. There's nothing wrong with Minnesota. And they're a great team. They're all great teams.
They are. And can we admit this? I mean, we didn't really watch last year because the closest team to us was
Oh no,
Minnesota
we
and
can
we
totally.
wanted a team.
Wait, I
But
already said on the first episode that I was just became a
yeah,
hockey fan.
she
So like the
just was a
fact that I
hockey
just
fan.
became a hockey fan because you were a NHL fan, let's
Yeah.
start there.
Yeah.
And that I've branched out not only to the PWHL, but I was watching minor league teams
Yeah.
last year. I mean,
AHL.
yeah, I have a little hyperfixation problem,
AHL?
guys. No, WHL,
WHL.
WHL.
WHL. Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah,
She's
I've totally
fixated.
got it. I've fixated on it, but my fixation is now switched to the PWHL because I am throwing all of my support behind women's sports and women's hockey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if there was if there was a woman a PWHL team in Southern California, I would have totally been a fan.
Sure. Yeah.
And I made a trip around the perimeter of the United States. I drove around the perimeter of the United States for certain reasons. I did that, and I stayed with
That
people
sounds so
around. It
nefarious. Like
really
she's
does, but
like,
it was really good.
it
Um,
was a fun trip.
it was a very fun
It
trip.
wasn't anything nefarious at all.
No, no, it wasn't. But I tried to see team because I wanted to see and I wanted to catch a PWHL
Yeah.
team a game while because I'm literally driving up the eastern seaboard and through Minnesota. I was in the Twin Cities, and
But it
they
was
were
in
never
April.
playing.
It was
Yeah,
in
it was in
April
April.
last year, so that would have been playoffs.
Uh, uh, I don't know. It
Oh no,
wasn't
it would
the
have ended
no.
season, not
Yeah,
playoffs.
it was the end of season, but they were on hiatus. It was so
Oh, it
weird
might have
because
been
they
world.
weren't. Nobody was
It
playing.
might have been the
They were
worlds.
playing when I wasn't there, and then they weren't
You
playing when I
remember
was
they
there.
did a break this year
Yeah, they
because of
did a break.
worlds.
Maybe it was the Worlds. It must have been that. But
Yeah.
it was. I could not see a game, and I really tried hard. So, but just to have a team come to Seattle
Yeah.
is like it's amazing, and to be a season ticket holder again is really exciting. So.
We really need to talk about the playoffs because that's what we said we were going to talk about.
Okay. I mean, we devoted extra time to that game today because it was an
Oh no,
action-packed
100%.
game.
But we watched the rest of the games this past week. So,
did.
there's games Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then two today.
Right.
So right now, Minnesota is up 2-1.
The first game that
Montreal.
Montreal beat Minnesota.
No,
No,
Ottawa.
Ottawa and Minnesota. Ottawa beat Minnesota.
What are you talking about?
I don't
Ottawa's
rem-
playing Toronto. Or I
Okay,
mean,
who's
Minnesota's
playing
playing Toronto.
Minnesota? Toronto. The first game that Toronto beat Minnesota was really epic.
Okay, why was that?
I don't know. It was really good. But then when Minnesota came back, that
But
was
she
when they were
doesn't
scoring. No,
she
I
doesn't
don't. I don't
remember.
remember that. But the second game when Minnesota won, they scored like
I don't remember.
Ottawa was up 2 goals, and then Minnesota tied it and went ahead 2 goals. It was really an exciting period. Don't you remember we were fighting? That was when we figured out
I
we
do
were rooting for
remember. I
different
do remember
teams.
we were fighting because she kept saying "Go
Fighting.
Minnesota," and I
No,
was
we weren't
like,
fighting. We were just
"Why are you rooting for Minnesota?" I was like, "We're rooting for Toronto here," and she's like, "I'm not." And I was like, "Oh, this is the first time we've rooted for different teams. That's weird."
it is a little weird,
Yeah,
but it's okay. I'm still kind of rooting for Ottawa.
it's still Toronto.
Toronto. Why am I losing it?
I don't
Am I
know.
having a stroke?
I said before we started, I'm like, "Do we need to go over anything before we start this?" And she's like, "No, no, I've got this. I totally got this." We did watch the games though, guys. It's just been a couple days, so
It has
it's kind
been.
of hard to remember.
Has
But
been.
feel free to, slam us if we got anything wrong. But the long story short is I will give you the down low, which is Minnesota's up 2-1 against Toronto, and Montreal and Ottawa are 1-1.
Yes.
So the next game is going to be on Tuesday, and that's Montreal and versus Ottawa, and that's in Ottawa. So they've already played 2 games in Montreal, and then
on
Wednesday,
Minnesota yeah.
Toronto and Minnesota are playing, but they're playing in Minnesota. They already played 1 game in Minnesota.
Yeah, so
So,
Minnesota can win at home.
well, that would be, yeah, that would be. So that's, the prediction is that well, I mean, not that they're going to win. I hope they don't win because I would love to see it go to more games. But,
Okay.
that would be good for Minnesota though, if they could clinch in at home.
Yeah.
Because
Have some
otherwise
title
they go
rest.
back to,
Yeah.
they go back to Toronto.
They go back to Toronto for game 5, yeah.
Yeah. So it was really cool to see. The other thing I wanted to mention, because we've talked about this a little bit, is that the Frost had their logo at Center Ice today. So, and that's
At
at
the
a big,
XL Center,
yeah, and that's a big arena. That's not, that's
That's
where
not
the
a
Wild
minor
play.
league.
Yeah,
Right,
the
Wild play there.
NHL,
That's
the
an
NHL,
NHL arena.
yeah. So that's really exciting
They
because
had a good crowd
they
too. I
did.
don't
Oh
know
no,
if
no,
it was
no.
sold out, but it was a good crowd.
Both arenas look like they were, pretty full. So it's exciting. I mean, I think we've just, because we're speculating about what next season is going to look like because the
We're in a
Seattle
good
team is going to
building.
share Climate Pledge with an NHL team and a
And the
yeah,
WNBA.
and the Sound. No, Storm,
Yeah.
not the Sound. The
I
Storm.
wasn't the only one who made a mistake.
The WNBA. Well, that's basketball. It's a whole different
It is.
sport.
It's a whole different sport. I wasn't gonna go out there. I was just gonna say and a WNBA team
Yes.
because I don't follow basketball.
Yeah, and we
Tom
can't
really
say
doesn't
that we can't
either.
say the NHL team's name. We said that in the first episode. It's a bad word in this house. So,
So happy we have our own team to root on.
yeah, so but that's the thing is like we've talked about like, oh, is our team going to get their logo on center ice and what is it going to look like for them to have to share an arena and I know we'll get used to it and as it becomes I mean, and my hope is that it becomes more popular than the men's team because why the heck not? We have a huge arena that we can fill out. So, we're hoping Seattle, we're sending the call out to all you guys like we got to fill this up. We got
You
to
gotta
cheer
fill the
on it.
building.
We do. We got to cheer on our team. So we did it was a good show. It was over 12,000 people for the takeover tour. And it was like a Sunday afternoon. It was a weird, it was a weird time. It was early on the tour. So hopefully
Right
we
after
can,
Christmas. Well,
yeah.
it's
Well,
early January, mid-January.
no, it's January 5th.
It's January 5th,
Yeah.
so right after
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, just looking to hopefully bolster
Butts and seats.
get people there because the being live is electric. So we've talked to somebody today a little bit about that was at the Montreal game and she just said she said it was incredible. It was the most incredible thing to be there and I think that in person hockey is the best hockey. I mean, it's fun.
Nothing like it.
Yeah, it's fun to watch on TV, but being there is, and that's what's so exciting about having a local team. So, yeah. What else? Do we have anything else to talk about?
I don't think so.
Okay, so best out of 5 for these teams. We'll
Which
continue.
is different for me. I'm used to the 7-game
It
series.
seems fast. Like
Yeah.
it seems like it's gonna come fast and go fast. So, and also I guess we can just talk about a little bit. Like my prediction is, and this is just because what I do for a living, I think about this kind of stuff, is that they're holding the rules for the expansion draft and when the expansion draft is going to be until after the PWHL because my guess is that they don't want to add any any kind of pressure to anybody, right now
Any
as they're
distractions.
any distractions as they're going through the playoffs. So it would just be something that they would have to be thinking about if they had already announced rules, when and all that kind of stuff. People would already be worrying about it. Not that they're not thinking about it. I'm sure the players are thinking about whether they're going to be protected, whether they're going to have to move. I've got so many thoughts about where people should be and not leaving and not leaving.
But I think some people are excited too because you're moving to the West Coast and there's no
Yeah.
snow. I mean, okay, there's a little tiny bit of snow, but it's a great move, and I think people want to come.
That would be amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we'll see.
yeah. And the coach. I mean, when are we gonna?
Oh
announce the
yeah,
coach?
no. I mean, yeah, all
When
these.
are we gonna figure out where our seats are?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm interrupting. So
It's okay. This is my life, guys.
interrupting
The Patty,
Patty.
yeah, interrupting Patty. Interrupting Patty who? Okay, I think that's it. I think we really want to talk about the games today and congratulations to Montreal for just pulling out and just man, that was
Over
probably
2 games.
the longest skate of their entire lives, I'm sure is what it felt like. And
Sure, they're
so
sleeping well tonight.
they're probably sleeping like, and I'm glad they have a couple days off to recover. And then, yeah, then we're excited to cheer them on again on Tuesday. So, and good on Minnesota for winning today. Whatever. No, I'm
Thanks
just
for
kidding.
that.
Yeah, no, but we'll continue to watch. We'll continue to comment. Look for us on social media. It's a little more fresh in our minds when we're talking about it there than talking about it
Right.
on a week to week basis. But yeah,
Yeah, we'll get the overview.
yeah, the overview is. It's a good series, guys.
It's 2 good series.
It's ridiculous.
And we're enjoying it.
And it's ridiculous. We've
Yeah.
already had like just a monumental game. And it's just the first round. So who knows what's going to happen next. So.
And I'm starting a hockey journal. I have an NHL hockey playoff journal that I started in 19.
Well, 19 anything is a long time ago.
Yeah,
Let's be
in the
honest.
1900s, 1994, I think. No, 1997. I think I started it.
You were bad. You were
1996.
really bad with dates.
I really am bad with dates, and I don't care. But I'm starting it for the PWHL this season. So
we should stop because Patty is tired and
we are not night people.
Yeah, we're really not night
It's
people. This is
bedtime.
hard. This is hard for us to, but it's good. We needed to get this out because we wanted we wanted to have it out for Monday morning for
Yeah.
everybody who was enjoying the playoffs this past week over the last couple days. So,
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
All right. That's it.
That's it for us. We will talk to you next week, probably with more playoff recap. And yeah, have a good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye. And that's the show. Tune in next time for another episode of Gloves Off Seattle.